All right, let's do a quick review of multiplication. For my notes again, I use big numbers. In multiplication, for your homework, should be smaller than this. But I'm trying to use big numbers so we can practice with big numbers. So I'm going to work questions 35 through 40. First of all, multiplication of integers, right? Whole numbers. It's a 3 by 3 box because it's 3 digits by 3 digits. And I'm going to write 913 times 725. Let me cut each of my boxes in half. For each box, let me multiply the number on the top times the number at the side. 9 times 7 is 63. 1 times 7 is 7. Gotta answer in 2 digits, so 0, 7, okay? 3 times 7 is 21. 9 times 2 is 18. 1 times 2 is 2. And then 3 times 2 is 6. And then 9 times 5 is 45. 1 times 5 is 5. And 3 times 5 is 15. My answer is going to come wrapped around my box. My first row is just the 5. What I mean with row is this row. My second row, let me add my digits. 6 plus 1 plus 5, that's a 12. So I'm going to write the 2, carry down the 10. See, my next row is this one. Let me add the digits. That gives me 9. So I'm adding the digits. And then my next row, it's this one. When I add my digits, that gives me 21. And then this next row, that gives me 6. And then my last row, that gives me a 6 as well. All right, so those are my digits. So let's see, 6, 6, 1, 9, 2, 5. Negative, correct? That's positive times a negative. So negative 661,925. Pretty simple. Let's take a look at question number 36. It's also 3 by 3. So I'm gonna go like this. Cut my boxes in half. I'm gonna go 412 multiplied by 524. All right, I know 4 times 5 is 20. 1 times 5 is 5. 2 times 5 is 10. 4 times 2 is 8. 1 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 1 times 4. And then 2 times 4 is 8. My first number is an 8. My next row, it's an 8. I'm adding the digits. Well, the next row, it's also an 8. Nice. Now here, my next row, I get 15. So write down the 5, carry down the 10. Then my next row, it's a 1, and then there's a 2. So my digits at least is 215,888. 215,888. My answer is going to be positive because negative times a negative, 2 negative signs make a positive number. Now let's take a look at number 37. Let me ignore the decimals to begin with. So I'm going to look at 3 by 3 box. I'm going to multiply 614 times 102. I'm going to put zeros here in the center because anything times 0, right? 6 times 0, 1 times 0, 4 times 0, anything times 0 is 0. So let's see here. 6 times 1 is 6, 1 times 1, and 4 times 1. The bottom 6 times 2 is 12, 1 times 2, and 4 times 2. So my first row is an 8. My second row is a 2. I'm just adding my digits. 6, 2, and 6. So 62628. It's a negative answer because positive times a negative, it's a negative. Let me count my decimal places, like how many numbers after the decimal point. Here I have 2 decimal places. Here I have 1 decimal place. 2 and 1 is 3. So my answer should have 3 decimal places. So 3 numbers after the decimal point. Let's take a look at question number 38. It's also 3 by 3. I'm going to go 305 times 419. Let me put zeros here. 0 times 4, 0 times 1, 0 times 9, 0 times anything is 0. All right, let me fill my other boxes. 3 times 4 and 5 times 4. 3 times 1 and 5 times 1. 3 times 9 is 27, and 5 times 9 is 45. And I add my rows, that's a 5, that's a 9, that's a 7, that's a 7, that's a 2, and that's a 1. Okay. So let me write my digits. 1, 2, 7, 7, 9, 5. There's 1 decimal place, there's 1 decimal place, so my answer will have 2 decimal places. And then positive times a negative is a negative. So I have negative 1,277.95. Pretty cool. Now fractions. I can only have a number in the top, a number at the bottom, and that's what I have. Now, when I multiply straight, 1 times 1, 2 times 9, I get 1 over 18th. It's a negative, so it's a negative 1 over 18th. So I'm going to write that as a negative 1 over 18th. Let's take a look at number 40. Now, I can only have a number in the top, a number at the bottom. So I'm going to call this 13 over 3. Remember the 13 because I went 4 times 3 is 12 plus the top. That's how I got the 13 on that one. On my second fraction, I have an 8 at the bottom. But remember, I'm going to go 3 times 4. 3 times 8 is 24 plus the 7 on the top. That gives me 31. So positive times a negative. My answer is negative, right? Positive times a negative. Now on the top, 13 times 31. Do we know? Let's see. I'm going to do 13 times 31. We know how to do multiplication. 13 times 31. See, this is 3, this is 9, this is 1, and this is 3. So 3, 10, 4. 403. 13 times 31 is 403. 3 times 8 is 24. All right, so let me divide. How many times does 24 fit into 403? Let me look at 24 into 40. How many times? Well, it looks like 1 time. 40 minus 24 is 16. 24 plus 24 is 48. How many 24s can we add until we get to 163? And I'm going to say 6. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 2 is 12, plus the 2 is 14. 163 minus 144 is 19th. So my answer is 16th, 19th over 24. Negative. All right, how are we going to type this? Negative 16th. Let me leave a space. 19th over 24. That's how we're going to type it. Let me zoom out so you guys know exactly how to type this work.